Good morning, everyone. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to day 13 of the 30 most important albums in hard rock and heavy metal history. These are what I feel are the most important albums that helped shape what we now know as hard rock and metal. Right? We've spent a good chunk of the month so far in the 60s, but now we have moved into the 70s. And we're going to take a look at a bunch more albums that I think really kind of took this whole movement, this movement of heavy rock and roll, to the next level. This is a live album. All right, this was released May 23rd, 1970 for the Decca and MCA labels, depending on where you're from. Produced by John Astley and Kit Lambert. Of course, I'm talking about the legendary Live at Leeds by The Who. Now, you look at the overall career of The Who. They started off playing, kind of like British R&B music, right? The whole mods thing, hot and heavy in the late 60s. And then, all of a sudden they did this album called Tommy, this concept album, which all of a sudden started to see The Who really, really maturing, coming into their own as players, Pete Townsend coming into his own as a songwriter. And for the next bunch of years, The Who became a force to be reckoned with, not only in their studio albums, which showed great songwriting and playing, and just really interesting lyrical topics and musically just absolutely spectacular, but as a live act, they became this ball of energy. Keith Moon and John Entwistle, Pete Townsend and Roger Daltrey. I mean, they were one of, and again, I wasn't old enough to see them back this early. I saw them much later as we got into the 80s. But if you go and listen to any of their live albums from this time period, like 69 through 75, if you watch any video, I mean, The Who were one of the great live acts of their day. And on stage, everything they did in the studio became more rowdy, more energetic, more violent, and certainly heavier and harder rocking. And Live at Leeds was a perfect example of getting that energy from the stage captured, all right, on wax, on LP back in the day. So the single album of Live at Leeds, in its original incarnation, was just that. It was just a single LP. And what's amazing to me is, all these years later, we've had, different versions of Live at Leeds, eventually the deluxe edition, which is basically the whole show, all right, recorded at Leeds University. And you stop and you wonder, how come they never released this as a double or triple album back in the day? Because clearly, this is one of the great live concerts of all time. And it's in its infancy. You only had a handful of tracks. You had "Summertime Blues," which was the big, the big cover at the time, right? The Eddie Cochran classic, and The Who did it spectacularly. You had the lengthy "My Generation" and "Magic Bus" and a couple others, but it was mostly just a couple tracks, lots of jamming, and some covers, and that was it. Where's the rest of the show? But even in that single LP, single album incarnation, this was heralded as one of the great live albums of all time because of its hard rock energy. I mean, this is The Who at the height of their powers, just, kicking ass and taking no prisoners, just piss and vinegar, just putting it all out there on the stage. And wow, right? Now, all these years later, we have, disc one, you got Heaven and Hell, I Can't Explain, Fortune Teller, Tattoo, Young Man Blues, also from the original album. Big and heavy. I mean, Townsend's guitar tone on this album is absolutely monstrous, right? You got Daltrey, it's just the vocal god, right? He's coming of age here. You got Substitute, Happy Jack, I'm a Boy. A quick one while he's away. Excellent on here. The first little mini rock opera, right? Summertime Blues. Shaking all over. I mean, dun, 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 dun. I mean, this album rocks, and it rocks hard. My Generation, Magic Bus. And if that's not enough, that's just disc one. Disc two, you've got Tommy. Played nearly in its entirety. 20 tracks. Overture, It's a Boy. 1921, Amazing Journey, Sparks. Eyesight to the Blind, Christmas, The Acid Queen, Pinball Wizard, Do You Think It's Alright, Fiddle About, Tommy, Can You Hear Me, There's a Doctor, Go to the Mirror, Boy, Dun 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 Dun, Smash the Mirror, Miracle Cure, Sally Simpson, I'm Free, Tommy's Holiday Camp, and of course a epic we're not going to take it. But see me, feel me, people. I'm telling you. This is just, it was a landmark live album in its infancy, in its original release. It is absolutely can't miss, legendary in this latter deluxe edition, because you got the whole kit and caboodle. And man, to have been in the audience that night at Leeds must have been pretty damn amazing. And you've got, there are other documents of the Who from this time period, where basically they play the same kind of set list. You got Woodstock, you got the Isle of Wight, you got the Hull. I mean, all these shows, and the Who was spot on every single night. Just amazing, the energy and the volume and the power of the Who at this stage in the game. So I had to include them here in this series. You can't talk about the infancy, the development of hard rock and metal without including the early Who stuff, specifically the live stuff, because man, so many other bands, took what the Who were doing here, playing out live, and the volume and the energy and all the theatrics, all the stuff that they did on stage. It's part of rock and roll history. And it's part of heavy rock history. So there you have it. The Who live at Leeds is my pick today, day 13. Visit us on the web at www.seaoftranquility.org. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, of course, we're here on YouTube all the damn time. Thanks for watching. Day 14 coming up, so stay tuned for that. And all sorts of other stuff here on the channel. So please subscribe if you haven't already. Click on that notification bell so you get alerted of all of our content. We also have the link to our Ko-Fi page for channel donations, the link to our merch page, all sorts of fun Sea Tranquility stuff. We're having a sale now through the end of the year, so go check out some stuff over there. And yeah, seatranquility.org, our webzine, celebrating 20 years this year, so please go visit over there as well. Thanks for watching. I am Pete Pardo. See you real soon. Take care. Bye-bye.